All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Fruits Basket, Season 1, Episode 2.
Oh boy, that was a strong first episode. I absolutely love our main character. She was wonderful.
Toru's fantastic. Yeah, she's got this really sweet, just a boundless energy. And she's been introduced to these cousins who are each... aspects of the Zodiac.
Right.
And themselves also have some element of, like, once, like, they're... interact with, like, touching and stuff, but, like, from women specifically, like...
Okay.
What... Yeah. So it's a whole thing there.
Yep.
But her place, her little campsite...
is gone.
Got mudslided.
Yeah.
And the only reason she was out there was because her grandpa kind of was like, well, I can't
kind of a dick.
Have you here.
We're
really
renovating.
Awkward.
So,
yeah.
Right.
So, she's going to stay with them, maybe?
Yes. Yeah, that seems to be the case. And, you know, as far as circumstances to cause the two main characters to then start living together, I gotta say... This is extreme, but it definitely works.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Like it. The situation at school, though, is quite funny as well.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to more of those three girls together.
Please, more of just the club, but then also, of course, Toru's friends. They're wonderful.
So,
Kanako especially.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay, so fairly standard episode, all things considered.
Right.
Sort of the introduction to Kyo as proper into the show.
Yeah, and he is a main character.
Yes, exactly.
He has been transferred into the school, albeit Shigure's kind of like machinations that brought that about.
Indeed.
I loved how everyone reacted to it, especially Yuki, just like
immediate blizzard.
Just like, no.
You don't seem to like that very much. You know?
Yeah, he was like, I thought you'd be angry about this, but you know.
Okay.
Okay. Kyo is easily set off, and there's some complications attached to that.
Yep.
He does not have a good handle on his emotions, and thus he flies off at the smallest little things, but he does not want to.
Right.
This is not a thing where it's contributing to some great goal of his. He hates that part of himself.
He does not have a proper place within the family, which might be as a result of the fact that the Zodiac things are tied to their family, because he is a part of the family, which eliminates the theory from previous episode. Yep. But then also the cat not making it to the place or whatever because the mouse
the rat tricked him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see where, like, how that sort of plays out in this.
Yeah, there could be something where the cat in general has been cursed in some way to be out on the outskirts of things and be an outsider in that regard. But there seems to be this underlying aspect of it where it's not just that. He's outcast from the family in a way that he is still a part of the family, though.
Right, but it's almost like he casts himself out, or he distances himself because of past hurt, and now it's like the thing of, because the whole thing of needing to beat Yuki, right? It's totally arbitrary, right? And it's goofy and fun because, you know, young boys and all that stuff, and they need to see who's strongest and all that.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
And it's great for Toru to also be able to see them compete and just be like, what's
going on?
What's going on? You know, right? But if you think about it, he doesn't need to do that, but he chooses to, as far as we know, right? Yeah. You know, but he's got a chip on his shoulder, right?
And it's a big chip. He went out into the mountains
for 4 months,
skipped school for 4 months at this other place in order to train so that he could beat Yuki.
Right.
Didn't do any good.
No. But maybe you should have gone to an actual dojo. See, for those 4 months, Yuki actually just got a proper instructor, and he's like, but he doesn't say anything, you know. And that's why he keeps beating him.
He's like, why are you still so much better than me? Shigure's like, well, I gave him basic technique training.
Should I show him your schedule and, like, in receipt for the place? No. Burn that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just keep making him think that I'm, like, not trying.
Yeah, exactly.
Piss him off even more.
Casual badass.
Yes. I love Shigure's role in all of this because he does not actively try to stop them from their antics, which in some ways gives me the vibe more and more that there's this aspect of not immortality, but deep, learned wisdom from someone who is wise beyond their years.
From Doggo.
And Shigure the channel's Bigu Dogu energy. And I of course, I'm going to love Shigure because the dog.
Right. This ain't no Tom and Jerry dog where it's like the mouse is the smartest, then the cat, then the dog, and with the dog being the dumbest. No. The dog is wise beyond his years.
Yes, the rat might be cunning, and the cat might be feisty and strong. But the dog, he's been around. That's right. Yes.
But we got more school antics, even though it was a secondary, part of the episode. But
I feel like he's being built up to be sympathetic in a way that is hard to sympathize with initially.
Because it's done for comedy a lot of the time?
Yes. And the reason why I would still say he's quite sympathetic is because we see him panicking so much over also these little things regarding stuff like all these women around, all these things that can make our secret come out.
Yep.
Which, if they can just reverse people's memories, why is he so worried about that? I think it's because it's not about whether or not they get their memories reversed. It's about it makes it harder for him to get back into the family.
Yeah,
and
basically.
as he causes more problems for them, his status as an outsider remains.
Which is why Toru being introduced is so perfect. Yes. Because it's like...
she'll accept him without any of that.
Well, yeah, she'll accept him without any of that, but it's also the thing of like, okay, somehow, Shigure convinced Akito to let Toru stay in the family, allegedly, without getting her memory wiped.
Right.
Cool. Well, okay, just don't tell anyone. Your secret safe with me.
And Toru's the
that
one
was a
that's
fucking lie.
Yeah, Toru's the one that's hugged them all like 5 times since then.
No, to be fair. Some of
the times she was intentionally doing that.
Well, and I mean that doesn't make it better. But
I mean, in some ways it kind of does.
But to be fair, she hasn't told anybody.
No.
Upholding the letter of the law, if not the spirit of it. Right? So, all right. But
her heart is in the right place.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see how her kind of secret knowledge gets kind of leveraged in specific instances when they're all three at school at the same time. And it's not outside the school building, but it's inside the classroom where they're like, we're speaking in code, and then Hana-chan is just like, waves, I'm sensing telepathy, y'all are doing some shit here.
Oh man, it's been a long time since I've gotten to truly experience, and also on top of that, enjoy a story where it's we're at high school, but we have these secret supernatural powers, and the aspect of the other students actually finding out about the powers is an active, ongoing plot point.
Yes.
You
love that.
I love that cheesy shit so much.
Yes.
It's just it's fantastic. So the idea that Hana-chan has already sussed them out as being not human with her, wave predictions or whatever.
Now, there's a bit of Chuni aspect to it. Where,
totally.
No one's going to take her seriously.
And she might not entirely take herself seriously with this, right?
Possible, yeah.
But that being said,
yeah.
And then on top of it, which my one gripe from this episode, but that's fine because we had to give Kyo the focus, right? And there was good focus. We had a moment where Yuki literally kabedoned, but then was also made to eventually be naked. And we didn't have the fan club walk in at that moment and then see the two of them.
That's being saved for later.
I know. You can't lay all your cards out on the table right at the beginning, but that is going to happen, and it will be so glorious. So glorious.
It's going to be ass.
Especially if it's like Yuki and Kyo at the same time, and then they're just like, Toru, you vixen.
No, see, that's the thing. They're not going to think it's Toru at all. They're going to think, oh my god.
Well, but what if
cousins? But
oh my god, no! But what if like Toru is right there, and then all of a sudden they turn into like Kana and her introduction in Dragon Maid of just slut, you vile woman, you have seduced them, you have begone.
Imagine though if they're naked, and and then she's like slapping them, baka, 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 and then they come in and just see her slapping them while they're naked and stuff. And they're just like, yes, yes, and they're like, oh my god, are they into like, you know, submission? They into being like with a femdom or something?
In the school classroom. Oh my god. But and then Will-chan would just come in and see this and just be like, oh, and just close the door.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like, yeah.
I very much love the duo of Uo and Hana because they have this complete opposite energy that can form this perfect triangle, if you will, with Toru's energy. To where we can have tons of ridiculous comedy. Like, absolutely. I still am dying inside seeing the bit where, I mean, like, Hana basically was just floating after them.
With lightning coming off her.
And it just gives me straight up vibes of when I'd be playing Mewtwo in Smash, and just to flex on, like, whoever I was playing against, I just move at them and make them panic because they don't know if I'm going to grab them, do some kind of flip move or something.
Well, and also, it's this great representation of when you have, like, the awesome kick-ass defensive friend that's like, hey, these bitches are going to, like, you're going to cause some shit. I'll cause some shit first. Like, you know, get lost. You know, I'll chase you out.
I'll drop kick someone. I don't give a fuck.
Right. So, it's just like, wonderful. Wonderful.
Reminds me of a line from Sword Art Online Abridged, but
oh god.
Anyway, context though for the world building. So Toru very much loved the cat Zodiac. We have a little bit of an ongoing theory with regards to how her mom might be tied to that, but that's a really vague thing just based on her hair color.
And given the fact that Kyo is officially part of the Soma family, I would say that theory is basically out.
It might be out, but hold on. Hold on.
There's more.
There's more. There was a thing that was drawn attention to in this episode that we didn't really look at as closely in the first episode.
Oh.
And that was the hat.
Yes.
The hat was a part of her stuff that was in the tent. Specifically, there was only so much that could be saved by Yuki because his rat army probably could only do so much against the mudslide.
Right.
But that was one of the things saved. It was also given to Toru in her backstory when she was a kid,
but not
by someone
by her mom.
That wasn't her mom.
But it was shown around when they were showing her mom and everything, and then suddenly there was someone they didn't show the face of giving her that hat. Now,
this opens up some interesting possibilities.
Especially since we also have memory manipulation established in this episode. And apparently there was some big event that happened around
before.
Yuki where a bunch of people had to have their memories wiped.
Kids.
Yeah. Oh, and now granted, we saw some of the kids, but like, why did they make an exception for Toru?
Yeah.
You know? Like, we don't know what exactly Shigure said to Akito in order to convince them. And we know that it was a big deal for Yuki of like, wait, is it that weird that I turn into a rat? Yes, it is. Oh. Okay. So, yeah,
there's some very, very light foreshadowing that is being placed in a bunch of different areas.
Right. It doesn't have to be Toru or anything.
Well, it doesn't have to be connected is the main point.
Right.
But this is the way my brain thinks. I'm now looking at this and going, I can now see the corners of a painting.
Right.
Oh, it's
the painting's pulling here. Yeah,
I see colors.
Right.
I see.
Yeah.
He's beginning to believe. The code starts to come down. I'm like, wait a minute. So is this a story about how Toru was a part of the group of people that had her memory erased and stuff like that, and her mother might have been maybe...
I don't know. Like,
there could have been something.
But here's something else that I want to point out that's really cool. So, okay, in this story that is, for the most part, from what we've seen so far, very slice of life. Where does the conflict arise? Okay, they can turn into animals. That's cool and cute. And
the secret. It must be kept safe.
It's the secret must be kept safe, right? And it's a way to basically spice up what could otherwise be a sort of, rom-com high school anime, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some slight, but it's not necessarily the foremost plot point even.
Yeah, exactly. And there's plenty of characters and so far we have two that might like Toru. So but there's also the whole idea of, okay, there's the secret that they have, but then as far as conflict moving forward, since none of these characters are going to be aggressively exploring their feelings other than maybe Kyo.
That's the thing.
They might eventually. And if they do, awesome.
I feel like that's where the conflict will be, is that all of these people are young members of that family, and Toru is kind of the new member the family brought in.
Yep, the hammer that shakes up the dynamic.
Yeah. So how will the family's emotional reaction to all this unveil and develop over time?
And at the same time, in addition to that, since this is a longer series, how do you keep the audience engaged throughout the whole thing when as the characters need to discover that they even have these feelings for, Toru or things like that or whatever? And having there be something where we have a concrete mystery in the background regarding, at the very least, one of the characters of there was this thing that happened that was clearly very traumatic.
Yep.
That is a specific thing that can be addressed in the future, even if it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Toru.
Yep.
Even if it's just Yuki's backstory, basically, that's still really good to bring up because it's engaging.
Yeah. So with where we're at, this series doesn't have like an antagonist or any kind of
Yuki fan club.
Right. Yeah. If anything, I feel like it's going to be about these characters adjusting to Toru. Right. Toru is a very active protagonist in that regard, in that she's going to shake up a lot of the way they do things. Yuki already, in some ways, has been shaken up quite a bit because he might now start to see, I was already maybe feeling a little bit like an outsider, not just in society, but maybe even a little bit in
the Soma family, and that's why
I am kind of wanting to break out of the Soma family dynamic, and I feel like an outsider because of that. So maybe I don't need all of that stuff that I've been growing up with.
Here's another thing I want to point out. Kyo, he would have dropped out of this school if Toru wasn't here. Because he had the first day, and he freaked the frick out, right?
Yeah,
and he's
they had ladies like clawing all over him.
Yeah, and he's like, nope.
You can almost just see the cat nope, like looking for the exits and like, what the fuck are we doing?
And I gotta say,
here,
as an introvert, that was so satisfying to see someone who's like suddenly in a social situation, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna jump out the window, right? And it's like, but of course he's a cat, so it's totally fine, and he lands very cat-like and whatnot, but that would have been it. I don't think he would have gone back to that school the next day after a day like that. Hell no, why would he, right?
And Yuki have to literally be dragged there probably by Shigure or something.
And Yuki doesn't want him there in the first place because they don't get along well together, so he certainly doesn't want to spend any more time with him than he has to.
We have a weird kind of family-ish rivalry of sorts. Yeah.
But hey, Toru was there. She broke up their fight. And you know what? It's probably going to keep going.
Yeah. So they're cousins, right? Kyo and Yuki?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So there's no, like, direct parental connection.
Right.
Gotcha. So then I'm really curious why Akito is the family lead. Because I don't sense any kind of parental dynamic between him and necessarily any one of them.
Given that they have a supernatural aspect about them with the animals and stuff, it could be just that age doesn't take quite like it would with other people, or that like maybe it's something where the family head generational, or the family head is based on what animal you are, not by actual like being the grandpa of the family or something like that, or the grandmother,
Sure. So like it's always this animal is the lead.
And then you just pass it on, right? And that could be an interesting exploration of kind of the hierarchical dynamics that we have gotten shown by Kyo being an outcast within the family, right? And then that would also explain the whole thing. Because like normally in a situation like this, it'd be the oldest one of the family that kind of financially owns everything, right?
Sure.
And then that's sort of how it works. But in this situation, it doesn't have to be that, and judging from Akito's voice, it doesn't seem that way.
Right, and I'm still going to be, until proven otherwise, in the assumption that because it's been going on for a long period of time, that they are not literally the first members of the
I don't think so.
That they're not immortal, basically.
Right.
They age like regular people, and they are possessed by a spirit that gives them the connection, if you will. But what that means in general is that there's some point when, you know, Yuki's going to die or something, and they need to decide who's getting it next.
Yeah.
Now, I'm guessing what they do is they take someone that is probably, if Yuki lives to be 75 or something, they take one of his kids or his descendants or something like that, and they go, all right,
see,
here's the ritual. You will now be...
After 13 years of being a rat, they take the next one to a crystal cave and chain them up, and then, you know...
Jesus. No. But that's the thing, though, is that it's always been in the family, probably because it's a great secret, but it could also be not necessarily a thing that has to stay in the family.
Right, and because this has been a thing that's been going on for a long time, that's opportunity for their way of life and doing things to become stultified, which it very much seems to be, given the fact that most of the members that we've seen so far have been trying to distance themselves from the family, and Toru showing up has already caused one of them, the head of the family, to break tradition and actually let her stay.
Right.
Just with her goodwill promise that she won't reveal their secret.
Which is why I think that there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And that whole thing of where Yuki's like, hey, Shigure, are you and Akito doing anything? He's like, ha ha ha. He's like, sweat bead, you know, like, what do you mean? What? No.
Not at all.
No,
Look me in the eye. What?
What? Why would you think that?
I'm a dog. We don't like to look in the eye. It's bad.
I would love that to be a thing with Shigure. Shigure, like, is incapable of lying.
Yeah.
And
they like grill him about something, and he's just like, oh. Yeah.
He, like, does the whole, like, dog form of, like, puts his tail between his legs.
Can I just say, though, we got Kyo's ears turning down, and that just about broke my heart.
Yeah,
like,
me too. Because I feel like I've never been in a situation where I could tell that a family member felt like the outcast, really.
Yeah.
But I know where there was a situation where they didn't necessarily feel like they understood who they were within the family.
Sure.
Not that they were an outcast, but it was a thing of, well, who am I in this family?
How do I fit into this?
How do I fit into this? It's not that I feel like you guys have outcasted me, but I don't know my role or who I am in this. And
it's when you have the new friend in the group of already very good friends, and it's the not excluding or anything, but it's just that you already have something that works really well, and I'm figuring it out. And because Toru is so new, she's not going to treat him with all this other stuff that Yuki and Shigure do. Exactly.
Even though Shigure, for the most part, doesn't seem that, mean towards, Kyo. In fact, he definitely does, kind of, roast him a bit.
Right.
But he's not at Yuki's level where he's like, and if stupid cat, get out of here.
And if anything, he seems like maybe the sane one of the family that has the refuge, basically, where all of them go when they're like, we need to distance ourselves from the Soma family. Let's go see Uncle Shigure.
Shigure is the one that we can be like with, and he's so relaxed.
He'll let us crash at his place,
He's like, yes, do some chores, do some cleaning, and you guys can stay here. It's no problem.
Yep.
He does feel like the kind of member of the family that's probably the actual outcast in the functional sense.
I just stare at the moon.
Yeah, like I just really love people and stuff. And everyone else is like, humans. Why would you be so like what? But we're their friends,
And that's why I'm so excited for this young, super bubbly high school girl to completely take this, whatever the dynamic is within the family, but we have vibes that not all of it's good, and just,
It's going to be found family, and it's going to be adorable, and there's going to be tears, there's going to be laughter, there's going to be fun, there's going to be heartbreak, there's going to be shenanigans. I can definitely feel the vibe, especially now having the context of both the ED and the OP. Because, oh my God.
And that OP was so good. I
really like it.
I love it so much.
It's very simple.
Yep.
But there's an easy kind of cheat code with the way that it was sung that kind of just drilled into my heart.
I know that this isn't exactly an action anime, right? So it makes more sense for like the OP to be a more mellow, like more like all that. But this is just another example. We need more like just slow, deep feeling OPs in anime.
Need to watch more slow, deep feeling shows, Jacob.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Last thing I want to say is, what do you think? What's your prediction as far as how long we have before Uo-chan and Hana-chan are in a room with the other members of the Soma family that we've been introduced to, and they're in their animal forms or naked or something, and Toru is just trying to be like, yeah, so here's the situation.
Oh, so how long until Toru just tells them?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You should say that. That's
either they find out or
way less like specific of a situation.
Right.
I would actually say that she's never going to tell them.
But what if they find out and then she has to explain
see, that's the thing. I actually think that they're going to go almost the entire show. Like at least
you gotta milk that, slow burn it and everything.
Because there's 3 seasons, I'm only gonna say the first season. Because I don't know if this is a show that goes for like a long period of time yet. I don't know if this is a show that changes the structure after like a season or so.
The 3rd season could be them in college for all we know.
For all we know.
Yeah.
So I am going to hold off on predictions outside of season 1. Right now, what I've seen of season 1, I don't think they'll ever find out in season 1.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think
there's
a lot of nonsense shenanigans that they can get up to with them not knowing and still have it be plenty of fun.
But Hana-chan is on point. She's already been like, your vibes are of the same sort. You're not human.
Yeah, I could definitely see her getting really close.
I want an Uo-chan and Hana-chan like episode that's just like their adventures while all the craziness happens with Toru and Soma family.
I would love that personally. Yes, that would be really good. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.